Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's broadcast of the Prism 4 School of Small Business. Here is where we address the issues facing businesses and put forward solutions to help them address these issues. If this is your first time here, please subscribe to the channel, tell your friends. Subscribe, as I said, leave us your comments so we know how we're doing, and so that we can address maybe some issues that you personally have that you want us to address. Today, I have with us Ms. Victoria Shepherd. Victoria is an entrepreneur. She is the CEO of the Good Shepherd's Funeral Home. So she is a funeral director. And you may be wondering of what value is funeral services on to a business channel. Victoria is, as I said, an entrepreneur, and she has come up with what's called, and I'm referring to my notes here, what she calls a planning ahead journal. And I think it's fantastic, it's innovative, it's something that I have not seen on the market. And what this journal is designed to document the wishes of your loved ones before you are caught up in the grieving process. You also don't want to have, oftentimes when someone passes, if they have not given you an idea of what their wishes are, you're anxious and stressed about, am I doing the right thing? Is this what they would want? And that is the purpose of this planning ahead journal. I would also say, in addition to it being an amazing thing for individuals and families, it's also something that that is very applicable to someone who's in business. Because if you're in business and you pass away, does your business partners maybe know what your wishes are? How will the business live on? Will it live on? And also, does your family members know what to do about the business? So those are things we're going to be exploring with Victoria today. Victoria, welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you.
Firstly, tell us what made you come up with this journal, and what has the response been so far to your putting this journal out?
So I think that I have had a pretty great response. Every month has been better and better. The more that I kind of get it out there and get more visibility to it. So far, I came up with this journal during the pandemic. I started noticing that a lot of families were coming in, their loved ones were unexpectedly passing away, of course, due to COVID and different things. And at this time, we started having an influx of services. I mean, I can't even tell you how many people we served during the pandemic. And a lot of them, at least maybe 85%, would come in, had no idea what was going on, didn't know where to start, had no idea if their mom wanted to be buried or cremated, didn't know mom's favorite colors, didn't know where she hid the policy, had no idea who the beneficiary was. So I said, okay, there has to be a better way to make this easier for them. So I started watching, documenting, just assessing every family that would come in. And I noticed that this was something that they all had in common. There were a few that came in that had it together, but their majority of them don't, especially while grieving. So even if they did at that point, sometimes their mind just goes blank.
Mhm.
So I sat down and I started to work on something that could help our families, because at first it was just for our families, the families that were coming in, that we were personally touching. And one day, one of the families that I provided a journal, she came back. And after giving her this journal when we buried her son, maybe like a couple months later, we ended up burying her mom. And when she came back, she had this journal. So when she came back, everything was written down. She had had a meeting with her mom after her son died, and she wrote down everything that she could possibly fit inside of this journal. So when she came back that next time for her mom, I saw how much of a help it was to her. At that time, I started expanding it into other areas. From her feedback, I did revamp it a couple times, like twice, to add some more things that I noticed that, after evaluating more families, I was still noticing, okay, I can add this. This is really helpful. I don't think it's going to 100% give you everything, but it gives you at least 90% of what you need to know about a person before they expire.
It's a start. And
Yeah, absolutely.
it's much more than what most families have to work with,
Right,
because like you say, you just go blank when
right.
someone passes, especially if it's unexpected, and you
Yes,
think, what do I do? What would they want me to do? Like you say, where's the policy? How much money are we working with? Things of that nature. So give us kind of the main components. Victoria, how is the journal laid out? What areas does it cover?
so it covers the obituary. So a lot of times people come in, they have no idea how to put together an obituary. It gives all the fields that's going to be required to provide to the funeral home for the obituary needs. It gives all of the information that the funeral home would need to know for the death certificate. It gives all of the information that's going to be needed for the burial. It's going to tell you what's this person's favorite colors, what kind of flowers they like, how they want to be dressed, what type of church they want to go to for their viewing and or their services. It allows that person to basically plan out everything themselves. So when you turn this into the funeral home opens this book. They really won't have much to ask you for, but hey, I'm going to need you to sign this particular form or that particular form, but at least the foundation is started just in case. So it will have your life insurance policies, the companies, the beneficiaries, how much they're worth. Have you ever borrowed from them? Do you have any wills? Do you have any trusts? Do you have any lock boxes? Where are they located? Who's the beneficiaries on your bank accounts? Different things of that sort. So it definitely gives them a foundation. Definitely.
Awesome. Awesome. That is so revealing to me, because I myself, as a business owner, I look at it both personally and from the business perspective, because if something were to happen, God forbid, what do the people in your life need to know about what your wishes are? So this is a journal that would work perfectly for me, because what I've done is just created a file.
Yes.
So, it has my banking information in there. It has, what my debts are, business and personal,
Mhm.
who to call, my insurance, my policies,
Yes.
just basic information. And, unfortunately, a lot of people don't like to visit these conversations,
Yes.
because of
Very hard
course,
conversation to have.
yeah, you don't want to think about your mortality. You just want to enjoy life.
Yes. Yeah.
But if you're thinking about, it's an act of love,
Yes.
essentially, to the people that are in your life and the people you're going to leave behind.
And
So,
those are the people that you have to think about when you're doing that, because even though it's hard for you, there are things that are hard for you, but can make things easier for your children. So
exactly.
it's like you almost have to put yourself in an unselfish place to say, you know what, this may be hard for me. Nobody wants to think about dying. Nobody, not even me. I own a funeral home and I definitely don't ever want to think about dying and leaving my children. But I know the reality is
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I will die just like everybody else.
And
And in that state, I don't want my children to be, or my husband to be trying to figure it out when I could have definitely put certain things in place to assure the grieving process for them was just a bit easier.
easier,
Yes.
absolutely. And from that perspective, that it also saves money, It
Yes.
saves time and it saves money because you're not, you may be spending money doing something, associated with the passing of your loved one that's completely unnecessary. If only, you had given them
Yeah.
instructions
Absolutely.
and laid out what your wishes are.
And I've seen it
So,
work two different ways. I've seen people overspend, and this is like not even the way mom would have even thought to be laid out.
mhm,
And they've done it because that's my mom. I want to send her away the best way possible. But I've also seen people, mom may have $100,000 policy, and because of greed and mom not having things planned out,
yeah.
this child may go and pay $1,000 or $2,000, have her cremated and not do anything else with her. So things can go either way, and because people don't have anything planned out or have anything set in stone,
Yeah.
it can play out either way.
It can go left easy.
Yeah.
Victoria, how do we find what, first of all, what's the cost of the journal? How do we find it? And is it something, how long does it take for you? And are you now, I know we've discussed this, are you now approaching it also from a business perspective in terms of, businesses may want to have instructions as far as what should my partners do if I pass? And what should my family do about the business if I'm not here? Doesn't matter what sort of structure your business is in. There needs to be, and as someone who has been in business for a while, it's not a topic that I hear business
Yeah.
people speak about. And just like regular people, business people are going to die.
Yeah.
And what happens with the business? Do you want it to continue on? Is it going to be passed on to your children? Is your spouse going to take it over? Are your partners going to buy it out? Things of that nature. And I'm sure they may have that in maybe as part of their business planning,
Mhm.
but in terms of last wishes and how
Yeah.
to go about
Family really
things,
doesn't know.
I think this would be an amazing resource. So tell us what the cost is and where they can find it.
So I don't want to forget this part. So I don't have a business edition yet. That is something that I plan to come out with in the near future, to be able to create a business edition for business owners. The cost right now for the hardcover copy is $39.99 plus shipping. So it just depends on where you're located. They normally get it within 5 days, just depending on where they're located. I do have an ebook version that you can download, fill it in on your computer, and save it to your computer, save it to a junk drive, give it to your family, whoever you want to be able to have that. They just would have to keep up with the junk drive. And that one is $29.99 to download the ebook. And you can find my journals on my website. My personal website is www.v as in Victor, L as in Larry, S as in Sam, H as in Harry, E as in Edward, P as in Paul, P as in Paul.com. So it's VL Shep, my first and last name abbreviated, VL Shep at .com is my website, and you can purchase the journals there.
Awesome. This has been fantastic and eye-opening for me. I've had, as you mentioned, someone pass during COVID. And when something unexpected like that happens, you're like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? And he didn't have something like this.
Yes.
So we had to go by what would he want,
Yeah.
what drawing from his personality and his outlook on life. Those are
Yes.
the things you have to draw on, but it may still not be what he would have liked as
Yeah.
as his final arrangements. So you have that added stress and anxiety about, you want him to be, and I know it's kind of weird. People say, well, the person is already gone, what does it matter? But I think for family members and for people in general, it really does matter.
It does. I had a lady that came into me maybe about 2 months ago. She was an older lady, maybe in her 60s, maybe almost 70s. I don't know. And she came in and she said she had life insurance, but she wanted to do a funeral prearrangement for herself. And she said, as hard as I've worked all the years in my life, I want to make sure that my funeral is nice. I
Right.
want to come do this myself to make sure my funeral is nice. Because there's a lot of people that say, hey, I don't want to put all that money in the ground. I'm just like the lady. I feel like, hey, I've worked hard. I've earned that. I deserve to have a funeral that speaks as such because I've worked for that.
Right.
So if I have the money to be able to fund it and enough to still care for my family on the back end, why not? Don't just throw me, out like as if I didn't do anything while I'm here. I needed to go all the way to the cemetery for me. So, and people, if they know that their children aren't going to do that, they have to come in and do it
Yes,
themselves,
yes.
you know?
This has been really amazing. As I said, thought-provoking and eye-opening. And thank you for being here.
Well,
And for those of you out there listening, if this is something I'm sure you will get value from, go check out the journal. Subscribe to the channel, leave us your comments, click that notification, you know what to do. We are here for you every Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern. So join us again next week, same time, same place. Until then, it was amazing speaking to you again and having you in the Prison for Enterprises School of Small Business. So until we see you again, be blessed and have a fantastic rest of your week.